Do you still have business-critical VMs running on infrastructure that no longer fits your future plans? Migrating these can feel like a huge task, and figuring out how to modernize them on top of that often slows teams down. I'm Andy from Red Hat, and I'm here with Steve from AWS. Today, we'd like to talk about OpenShift Virtualization on Red Hat OpenShift Service on AWS, which we call ROSA. You get a first-party managed platform on AWS where VMs and containers run together as part of the same architecture. That means you can migrate existing workloads, modernize at your own pace, and simplify operations with built-in automation and a fully managed support.
So let's walk through the migration patterns. We'll explore strategies for modernization, and we'll show you how this approach reduces complexity while preparing for what's next. Let's start on the whiteboard.
Great. So let's take a look at how this would work in practice, right? We would start with your existing setup, right? Something like an on-premise hypervisor, right? So if I just draw that out as a nice easy box, and this is our existing on-prem setup. And within this, we're going to have a few virtual machines. This is very common for a lot of enterprises these days. Let's say that we wanted to actually move this then onto the cloud, and we wanted to start this migration journey.
Right.
So we're going to do a nice big arrow over to our nice big fluffy cloud. There we go. And on this, we would install ROSA, or our Red Hat OpenShift Service on AWS. So this is our base platform here. From here, how would we actually enable something like OpenShift Virtualization on AWS?
So what you would do is, from an AWS perspective, say you were deploying this, you'd have your ROSA cluster and you would install the OpenShift Virtualization operator. Mm-hmm. So we'll just drop that here. And then what you would do is you would create a machine pool that was bare metal machines. And you could have as many machine pools as you wanted to. But the bare metal machines is where your actual virtual machines would run. So it would be managed by ROSA, but it would be running on bare metal virtualization or bare metal machines from AWS.
That's great. Okay. So we'd move these then over. And from a migration perspective, we use something like Migration Toolkit for Virtualization, an Ansible automation platform. That would bring these over from our on-premise setup into this ROSA with the OpenShift Virt on top. And now this virtual machine has been moved over, and we move the other one over, and we move the last one over. And from here, our migration journey is basically complete. We've been able to migrate the entire virtual machine stack from an existing hypervisor into the cloud on a bare metal instance inside AWS.
Yeah, in a very simple way as well.
Exactly, yeah.
But
for the next steps, I think then, what we want to do is talk about modernization too.
Right. So once you've got them here, you still have your virtual machines. And typically you want to go to containers, so you want to containerize things so that you can get better usage here. So this is when you start to do your modernization. So here you're going to have your containers. I'm going to make diamonds apparently. But you're going to convert your virtual machines now into containers. So now, again, still running on ROSA, still managed in the same way, but now you've modernized it. Now it's not a full virtual machine anymore. Now it's a container that runs on ROSA as a container. You can still run them, some virtual machines, some containers, but this gives you an easy way to modernize without having to go outside of ROSA itself.
Exactly, yeah. So we've got the same platform. So you're using the same thing to manage your VMs as you are for your containers. So from a usability perspective, yeah, that's great. Okay, and at the same time, we've also got the benefits of the integrations between ROSA and the other AWS services. So as you move your VMs and you modernize to your containers, for example, you might not move the entirety of the VM to a container. You might take the database and offload that to an AWS managed RDS instance, for example. That's great.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You're right. You can start to take your databases, pull them out. If you want to do S3 for storage, you're right. You can start to take those parts out and just make native AWS services and still take full advantage of ROSA.
That's brilliant. And then are there any other thoughts in regards to cost optimization that you can think of?
Yeah. So one of the things, when you look at this virtual machine approach, let's say each one of these, is running, we'll go with 8 on the bottom one. Let's say this one has 4 vCPUs, this one has 4, and this one has 8. So you're looking at a total of 16 vCPU.
Yeah.
Now, if you move this over and you go with ROSA and OpenShift Virtualization, what you can do is you can basically overcommit.
Yeah.
So you have those same machines, and in here, maybe you set up with an 8 vCPU machine.
Yeah.
Because now what's happening is these are sharing the resources. If these are all running, let's say at 50%, so you're only actually using 8 vCPU, but you've basically assigned 16, now you're taking better advantage of that. Because now the virtual machines running here are only going to use 8 vCPU, which gives you the cost benefit of that. Even though it's running on bare metal, it gives you the ability to run more and more systems here. So now you can almost double your capacity or triple based on the workloads and how much is actually being used. So you're taking better advantage of the hardware itself.
That's brilliant. Great. Should we head back?
Yeah.
Thanks. Now that we know more about OpenShift Virtualization on ROSA, you might be interested in the next steps. Well, it couldn't be easier to get started with ROSA, and if you want to learn more, check out the link below.